Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. We see a lot of people have already come through. So welcome everybody to the LTK Influential Shopper webinar. As I noted, we have some very special guests today. So as part of this presentation, we will be sharing with you insights from our Influential Shopper study, which we're very excited about. But also we have some very special guests. So Amber Venz Box, she's the LTK president and co-founder of LTK, will be here for a roundtable discussion. She'll be hosting that with Tamar Guerrier, who is a highly successful LTK creator, and also Ashley Nichols, another successful LTK creator. And they're going to share their insights about influential shoppers and how that helped them grow their businesses, but also some other really important nuggets for brands and creators. So we're really, really excited about that. I'm Rodney Mason. I'm LTK Head of Brand Partnership and Marketing and your host and moderator today. And just a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. You will receive a copy of today's study that we're sharing with you, the Influential Shopper Study. You're also going to receive a video of this presentation in just a few days following the live presentation. When you do, we encourage you to register via link, and you will receive our next webinar, an invite for our next webinar, which is the Gen Z Shopper Study. We get a lot of requests about Gen Z from our customers. We do a lot of work in that space, and we've got a study to share with you Tuesday, November 9th at 1:30. Some really excellent insights. And when you talk about influential shoppers, Gen Z is right at the top of that list. So we're excited to hone in on Gen Z with you next month. Now, a really brief overview of LTK before we begin. We could just switch to the next slide. First, I'll just share the insights for today, or the how we built the study for today. Influential shoppers are consumers who regularly make purchases based on social media influence recommendations. This study that we did today identifies how influential shoppers share their shopping finds and the impact they have on the general population shopping preferences. Our methodology, we share this with you so that you understand that this is all valid. We conducted 2 national studies in June. The first one had 1,027 participants. The other had 981, and both had a 97% confidence that they reflected the United States population of adults. Certainly, influential shoppers are of all ages. The information we're sharing with you today is from that study. Next slide, please. Okay, now just to share a little bit about LTK before we jump into the presentation. LTK was founded by our guest today, Amber Venz Box, and her husband, Baxter Box. And they did that to empower creators to support themselves and their families by doing and sharing what they love, to create the world's first creator-powered marketing platform. Today, LTK, 10 years later, is the leader in creator commerce as the most successful influence platform in the world, driving billions in trackable sales for customers of all sizes, from the very largest retail and global brands to small direct consumer businesses, covering a wide range of industries in the US and literally around the world. LTK places brands at the center of the context of the right curated influencers' lives for genuine affinity. And the way that LTK does that is they have proprietary data over 10 years worth to really help brands find the right creators, but also help the creators find the right brands. So following the review of our research, we have an excellent roundtable discussion, as I mentioned. We shared the guests, and Amber Venz Box will host that. We're so excited. Also, Tamar Guerrier, who joins us from Musings of a Curvy Lady, and Ashley Nichols of Ashley Nichols Life and Style blog. They will share their insights on how they built their loyal followings and also share how they select brands to partner with. If you have any questions at any time, there is a function in here where you can go in and ask questions. It's in the bottom, and just click on that and we'll try to get to those. If we cannot get to those today, we will answer those in our follow-up. All right, so with that, let's jump into our study. So we're going to start with our insights. And if you can back up one slide, please. All right, I'm sorry, forward to the slide there. Okay, so really quickly, influential shoppers account for 38% of the US population, and the majority of those influential shoppers are Gen Z and millennials. Now, what is an influential shopper? We're going to share a little bit more of that, but they are really the ones that move the needle the most they're the ones that follow influencers the most closely and share all of their posts and all their recommendations from their stores. So these are the super shoppers of the influencer stores. They're 38% of the population, 2/3 of the general population. The other thing to know about them is that they do the majority of all their shopping online. Next slide, please. All right, so when we break it down really about influential shoppers and why they're so important and why we're talking about them today, they amplify influencer recommendation, sales, and engagement. In fact, really more than 2x, we're being conservative here, but they amplify all creators' posts by more than 2x. They also amplify their sales. So when you work with LTK, one of the things that we pride ourselves in is that we actually track sales on behalf of our customers. And we now have the research here to prove that all the trackable sales that you see out there are actually doubled through these influential shoppers. The influential shoppers average 250 followers, and any post that they put up from an influencer averages 35 likes. They account for 2/3 of all recommended sales from an influencer creator's store. So we've got influencers out in the market. They're all creators. They have their own, what we call stores. And that's really how they represent themselves across social media, on their blogs, all those places. Their content and everything that they do and drive is their store. And these influential shoppers are there buying from them more, or buying from their recommendations more than anyone else. In fact, 2-to-1, they account for 2/3 of all of those sales. When they repost, they themselves drive purchases, and they average about 8 purchases from their posts, and they repost 20% of the time when they make a purchase from an influencer. So think about that. This really is, if you think about professional sports, there are farm club teams, the minor league teams that work, on behalf of the major league teams. The influential shopper really behaves very much like an influencer. They just don't have their own stores, and they are the most influential folks. And I think you'll hear from the stories today from our creators that are here, that when they started, the way that they got into this is they themselves were influential shoppers. So anyway, their impact on influencer sales is 2x. So whatever the sales are, they more than double. All right, now we talked about the majority are shopping online. The majority are also shopping on their phone. So 73% do the majority of all their shopping online on their phone. And 72% do the majority of all their shopping online. 73% do the online shopping on their phone. And what's great about that, and when you think about LTK not only supports creators and helps them live out on social media and their blogs and other places, but it's really an excellent mobile platform. And actually, LTK has its own shopping app. In fact, it has 8 million regular shoppers every month on the app. And when you look at the conversions that occur on the LTK app versus just even on social media like Instagram and other places where our creators are, and we help promote them, but just on the LTK shopping app, you get 3x conversion versus social. So just a perfect tool to reach these influential shoppers working with LTK and our creators. Next slide. So influential shoppers, a little bit more about them just to drill down. 100% of influential shoppers, this is 2/3 of the, or 38% of the US population, 100% of them shop from creators' stores regularly. 43% of their shopping actually originates through creator stores. So that's of all their shopping. They also seek tips and advice from the creators that they trust. They're looking to them to actually make their decisions. It's not just that they go to them and say, oh, I like this. They actually go to them to help themselves filter. Creators are the number one buy influence on social media. So when you think about influential shoppers going on social, we'll show you the numbers here in just a minute, but creators are the number one reason they go there, and it's the number one buy influence. And then another important factor is when you think about the general audience, not the influential shoppers, but just everybody else, The number one way that they learn about brands is from their friends and family, from these influential shoppers. And the number two thing that influential shoppers do when they find something and they love it is they post and share it with their friends and family. So it's just a perfect cycle. You're really seeing a tipping point. When you bring in those influential shoppers, they broadcast for you and it pushes it out even further. Next slide. Okay, so why they visit social media? Influential shoppers go to social media to post and share their creator content with friends and family. So they go on creator stores, they find things that they like, they buy it, and then the number one thing that they like to do on social media is post and share that. They also seek tips and advice from influencers. That's one of the primary reasons they even go to social media. They also go in there to find deals. That's number three. They go there to keep up on news. They go there to be entertained, and they like to stay updated with friends and family. But way up at the top is sharing that creator content. And when you look at the majority of all shoppers, they learn about brands from online stores and friends and family. And the majority of shoppers learn about brands from their friends and family. So it's just a perfect storm. Next. So social posts that drive purchases for influential shoppers. When you think about all social media, and you've got these influential shoppers who are highly influential, what is it that drives purchases for them out on social media? Number one, influence creators, those creator stores that we've been talking about. That's the number one driver for purchases. Number two is professional expert reviews or reviewers. So you could say, well, creators are professional expert reviewers. Professional expert reviewers tend to be published writers in very specific verticals that represent trade publications and consumer publications. And so they come in number two. Number three is brand advertising. So advertising on social media still works, but influencer creators are much more powerful. Number four is celebrities. There was a time when celebrities were way at the top, but influence creators are more genuine. In fact, if you look at how influencer creators really came up, it sort of started in the beauty and fashion world where people could see someone that looked like them and they could identify better with them. But it really is all about trust. They really trust these influencer creators. They are a filter for their life and not just beauty and fashion, but all things, as we'll show you here in a minute. And so that's why you've seen celebrities fall significantly down, because people can't really relate with celebrities. They can, through their movies and properties, and they have an affinity toward them, and they admire them as stars, but they don't really see them as everyday people, and they don't trust them as much. No slam to Tom Cruise or anybody else, but anyway, number five, posts from savings apps. So you hear a lot about savings apps and go out on social and find these discounts and coupons. That's way down the list for driving purchases. And then social media's top recommendations. So if an influential shopper is on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or anywhere, and it says, hey, these are the top recommended buys and you should buy this, that's number six. And most of them feel like that's an algorithm and it's not really that believable. Next slide. All right, so the top social sites. This is for the influential shoppers, where they like to follow influencers on. And this was per our study, 97% confidence. Instagram is number one, Facebook's number two, YouTube is number three. You hear a lot about TikTok. It is now number four, just leaped over Pinterest. Pinterest is number five, Twitter is number six, and then you've got Snapchat and a few others, Reddit and LinkedIn. And I know a lot of folks on this call probably buy all their outfits from LinkedIn. Just kidding. But if you can go back really quick. Also, their favorite sites to share on. So it's a little bit different. So where they follow influencers on and where they share stacks out a little bit differently. So the influential shoppers share on Instagram and Facebook equally. And if you think about how easy it is to share on Facebook, that's got to be one of the reasons why. YouTube is number two. And then you have TikTok and Pinterest at number three, Twitter and Snapchat at number four. Okay, and we did talk about the LTK app But when you look at social media, that's not the only platform that creators have. They also have their blogs. And then all the creators that work with LTK, they have their entire social sphere, they have their blogs, and they have the LTK shopping app. And LTK shopping app has 3x conversion versus any social platform. So much higher engagement, much higher transaction to sales. And that's just like a turbocharge for the LTK creators and a real differentiator. And it's why people aspire to be an LTK creator, and it's why people follow LTK creators. The LTK app has 8 million plus monthly shoppers. It's a 5-star review, over 282,000 reviews, and it gets a lot of press as one of the top shopping apps. By the way, everything on the LTK creator app, the shopping app, is all creator content. So that also makes it uniquely different. It's not just a shopping app that has, that posts products on there. Everything on there is creator content. So where do these influential shoppers live? Well, regionally, the California, Arizona region is number 1. Alabama, Florida, kind of the Southeast, Georgia, North Carolina is number 2. Texas, Arkansas, number 3. Illinois, Great Lakes, number 4. And then the New York to DC, Eastern Seaboard, Mid-Atlantic Seaboard is number 5. And you look at the top states, California is number 1, Texas number 2, New York number 3, Florida 4, Illinois 5, and you kind of see how that works there. A lot of population driven, but there are some surprises in here too when you think about it. For instance, back on the regions, New York to DC is actually, if you take any of those regions, that's the largest population, but it's not number 1 for influential shoppers. And part of that is, that region tends to be, as it relates to fashion and other things, one of the fashion forward industries, and they just influential shoppers are not as concentrated there. But the other interesting thing is Arkansas. So when you see that, one of the smallest states in the United States, but coming in at number 9, tied for number 9 for one of the most influential states. And if you think about some of the retailers that are there, Walmart and Dillard's, and there's some other companies there, it's amazing how that culture there in that state and other states has really driven the creator lifestyle. Next slide, please. So we've talked a lot about influential shoppers. We're going to show you a slide here on influential shoppers and regular shoppers, just to get across the point that what they're buying from creator stores and creators' recommendations, as we said, it used to be beauty, fashion. Now it's everything, and it has been for a while. But we want to just go through the ranking of these categories to just show you how influential these creators are. Beauty's still number 1. Fashion is number 2, and it's tied with food and beverage for influential shoppers. So when you think about food and beverage, that's a massive CPG, soft drinks, all types of food. And then number 3 is cleaning supplies. Obviously, there's been a huge push towards cleaning supplies over, the pandemic and other things, but cleaning supplies have remained at the top of this list for quite a while. Then you've got gifts and home goods, entertainment and sports, educational, all natural and organic products, fitness, exercise, personal care, grooming, wellness items, really pet products, wine, beer, teen products, kid products, just all over the place. Pretty much most major categories that you buy in a store, creators really have a huge influence on the market, particularly with these influential shoppers that can share. But let's just show the general population also really quickly. Look at this: beauty, fashion, cleaning supplies. Lists are very similar, stacked a little bit differently. Interestingly enough, all natural organic is up a little bit higher. But just across the board, it's amazing how creators have just accelerated their reach and influence. And again, it's all built on trust. All right. So really quick summary of the study. Influential shoppers drive 2x amplification of creator sales and engagement, which is huge. 38% of the US population regularly shop creators, meaning every single month. And these are the influential shoppers. They account for 2/3 of all creator recommended sales. The majority of shopping is on their smartphones, and Instagram tops for following, Facebook, Instagram for sharing. And we shared all those numbers in there, but also when you're thinking about social, also think about the creators' blogs, because that's really important. to their followers. And then the LTK app, which has 3 times the engagement of typical social media. And then they buy a variety of products from creator recommendations, just, all kinds of things. So it's not just beauty and fashion, it really is across categories. All right, and with that, we'll go to the next slide. We're really excited. I'm going to hand it over to Amber, and she's going to run a roundtable here with us with Tamar Guerrier and Ashley Nichols, both very successful LTK creators.
Thank you, Rodney. Will you remind me how much time we have together with our creators?
Yeah, so we have 30 minutes.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to be here with these ladies. You probably already follow them. I do. One of the most exciting things about this influential shopper study is actually just the opportunity for referral. That's at its core what we're talking about here. And when I think about the relationship with an LTK creator and their audience, it is far more intimate than what's possible on other platforms. So when you wear a jacket or you order a chair from somebody that you follow and that person has suggested it, that relationship you have with the creator becomes very physical. And it actually puts a really emotional value in your life. When you put that jacket on or when you walk past that chair, you have actually a relationship with the creator and something that's living in your tangible space. And so, I think about when I see, for example, a chair from Ashley and somebody sits in it and says that they love it. And I say, oh, well, actually, Ashley, this girl I follow in the LTK app, she has great stuff, these kids, and she lives in Texas. And I got this chair from her. That's something that does not happen on any other platform. And it's because Ashley's part of my life and I have a relationship with her and I'm able to story tell around the own products that you see. And so that's really part of foundationally what we're talking about today with influential shoppers. It's shoppers who love and have a relationship with the creators that they follow, so much so that they're then telling other people. So I want to start today just by introducing you guys a little bit better to Tamar and Ashley. So Tamar, I want to start with you. Will you tell us just a little bit about your journey from moving from an influential shopper yourself to becoming a digital influencer? Oh, Tamar, we can't hear you. If you'll unmute.
Hi, everyone. So my beginnings was just like you said, I was a shopper, a consumer, and I've been with LTK since 2012 when I started my blog as just a hobby along with my nursing career. And it was something that was very obvious that this is where I would have to go to start creating links that would drive people to the things that I like, to make it more convenient, just like one place for everything to be instead of answering single comments or messages. So I've been with them for such a long time, and I personally started blogging because of other bloggers. So I was very much reliant on their recommendations and what they suggested. I was a part of that community in a different way. And then when I became a blogger, I then became the person influencing. So a lot of my time was as a consumer. So the consumer shoppers now, the influential shoppers now feel like they're like me because I am. I was just like them and I still am. I'm very influenced by other creators on LTK, and now it's a primary way of how I conduct my business and a way for me to stay connected with my audience.
Tamar, a follow-up question for you. So being a blog follower and kind of creator lover early on, you intimately understand what it's like to look to others. How did you build your following with people who love shopping just from the beginning?
So my niche is it's just very niche. And so I obviously shop for plus size consumers, and that in itself is a different experience than a straight influencer and a straight consumer's experience. So already that connection, we already kind of have like that same struggle. So a lot of the people that were coming to my platform, they felt connected to me on a very personal level, shopping, having a love for fashion, not having things easily accessible. So they were trying to get it in. If I knew anything to help them make their shopping experience easier, better, more fun, they trusted me. So that initially was the way that I was able to generate consumers and a following, because they saw a girl that they could relate to, that had same issues as them, but was successful in finding things that were fashionable, stylish, and made them feel like they can have a positive shopping experience too. Eventually, over time, my audience grew, the demographic grew, because, you know, my push is to drive that style is style regardless of size. And so it opened up to people who were just wanting to diversify their Instagram, who they followed. They didn't want to have the same type of person coming up on their feed, the same type of style. So with that shift and people wanting to see different people sharing things, that helped me to grow a more diverse demographic and following.
You know, I can understand intimately. I think we all have some sort of niche that we're either interested in or that brings us trust. And for you, it was being in the shoes that a lot of people are in, and then you having that baseline level of trust and authenticity with them, and then them wanting to help other people as well. And I know that we see that very much in the mommy community. I'm a member of, mommy groups on Facebook, and just the raw information that people give and the raw questions that they share. When you're circling around a specific topic, it becomes a really a shareable kind of environment, and people give everything they have. And actually, Ashley, that brings me to you, because I know you haven't always had a family at home, and certainly you have a family driven demographic today. But can you tell us a little bit about how you came into being a creator?
Yes, so I have actually been with LTK since 2012 also. I didn't utilize it quite as lovely as I should from the beginning, but I taught kindergarten, and I found myself always sharing my outfits with the people that I worked with, or someone would say, "Oh, I love what you're wearing. Where did you get it?" And I would just tell them. Sometimes we would go after work and go to TJ Maxx and dig through the stuff together. I just find joy in like creating outfits and making things for myself, but also for other people. I love to see outfits that I've created for myself, and then someone go and recreate a similar or the same outfit and also feel good in what they're wearing. So from kindergarten, I taught for 2 years, and then I moved to a really small town when my husband and I got married, and I didn't have quite the amenities that a larger town has. I had no Starbucks, no Target, I had nowhere to go after I got done teaching. And so that's when I started my online community, because people were not asking me about my outfit. I specifically remember calling my mom and saying, "Nobody asked me about my outfit today, and it was so cute." But that was kind of the era of LTK existed, but the app wasn't there yet, and things like that. So I really found what I wanted to do from Pinterest, which it's kind of sad to see that not be as influential lately, but it is so wonderful, because I did realize that what I was doing was influencing people off my screen. And if I was able to take a photo of that outfit and do the essential OOTD and link everything for people, then I could reach so many more people with the things that brought me joy as well. So whenever I started doing that, it opened up a world of possibilities. I was still going to kindergarten. I was teaching kindergarten here now, and just getting to wear my outfits and also share them with an online community of literally, I think I had maybe 200 followers. So I was that influential shopper that was seeing things, creating things, and then sharing it. But I didn't realize that I could make it my job for quite some time. So it wasn't until after I had my first baby and I decided to stay home from teaching. And my husband was like, it's really time for you to go back to work. And I said, "No, I'm not going back to work. I'm staying home with my baby." And I started to dig and do some research and thought, I see other people making this their career. I think I can do that. And so I started really researching and digging in and asking other influencers what they were doing, how they were monetizing, and it always came back to LTK. So I really dug my heels in with LTK and started linking and driving sales organically, because I was not having any brand partnerships from the beginning, but I had built this authentic following from moms, from small town people around me, from kindergarten teachers, teachers all over, that I didn't realize were following me. I thought it was for my life, but never failed. Someone was asking what I was wearing and where I got it from. So I guess I can say it kind of happened on accident, but I really realized I was influencing people without even trying to influence people. And then really, just kind of settled into influencing, like, well, if I've been doing it all this time and not realizing that I'm doing it, like, why can't I make it my career? So once I realized to do that and just got started being consistent, and then started, bringing my following into my life and sharing everything, it just really took off, and I couldn't be more thankful for it.
Two things I want to double click on that you just shared, Ashley, which is one is that, trust comes from the context, right? So knowing that you are a kindergarten teacher, that you have a family, or that you live in a small town, all of that context becomes very relevant for people. In the same way for Tamar, the context that you shared, it becomes very relevant. People identify with you. And one of the most important things that you also mentioned was how you could wake up and talk about whatever you wanted without any sort of brand deals. You could earn a commission just by talking about all the things that you love, which is how our creators, the foundation of their business. It's bringing people in to go shopping and letting them launch their businesses off of that platform. And so when you think about context, and for you as a brand, when you're watching, it's important that you're embedded in the context of someone who's already sharing everything about their life and serving as that guide or that leader. And so whether it is organic pool cleaner or vegan snacks, or what you're actually wearing to school, you want to be embedded with someone who actually is making their whole life shoppable. Because if not, for example, if Ashley was just talking about whatever on a day-to-day basis, and then randomly, boom, hey, but go buy my belt. That's not really in context anymore. It's not really, part of who she is in the way that she influences. And so I think that's an important one to double click on, is that working with content, with commerce-centric creators, so that the context makes sense and it feels like part of the story that they're sharing every day. The second thing before I jump back to Tamara that I kind of wanted to share was, Ashley talks about how, she started on Pinterest and being inspired on Pinterest. And what we've seen over time is that it was a very desktop product. And that, when you think about the consumer flows, they're finding things on their desktop and then saving them down to Pinterest. And now that people aren't on their desktop anymore and they're on their phones, we have seen that, not be a potent place for our creators and for our consumers to find, just per our own data. And so, we know that our creators, they're making content on their phone. We know that consumers are spending time on their phone. Rodney shared that with you. It's now around 8 hours a day. And if you think about where those 8 hours a day you're spending on your phone, it's always within these aggregated content channels. And the people who are filling those channels are the creators. And so it's important to be embedded within that original context. So Tamar, I want to jump back to you, because when we talk about, seeing the content and seeing within those channels, what are ways that you see your influence coming to life, whether that's just in your own circles or in your community or online, where people have been inspired by the things that you're sharing?
Well, it's always makes me feel like I'm connected to an audience. It makes me still feel like I'm still that girl that started out sharing with my girlfriends, like where I got an outfit. When I see them wearing it and they snap a picture and they tag me, I always encourage that with any of my followers, especially if I have a collaboration with a brand. Please tag me. I want to see you in your lives wearing this piece. This is not just about this curated, beautiful feed. I want to see you guys look beautiful, feel strong, feel confident in your everyday life. And when people tag me in posts like that, it just makes me feel like I'm doing it for the right reasons. And it still matters. It will matter because people will feel connected to you and the products that you recommend. And like that connection that you talked about earlier, that context just makes for that loyal consumer. They trust you in such a way, and they invite you into their lives, and then they tell other people about it. So I also love still getting emails from people. Like, people will send me photos of them at a wedding, or a 70-year-old woman sent me an email saying that this was the first time that she wore stripes because she never thought that she could, and because she saw you and because she saw me, and like she wasted so many years not like wearing what she wanted. So hearing, you know, real testimonials from my following, DMs, I'm very connected with my audience in that way. I call them my friends, you know, my online friends, because I feel like I'm talking to a girlfriend and sharing my own struggles with shopping, but also when people take my tips that are unconventional and they apply it to their lives, and they let me know. I just like the open communication. I'm not this person lofty, like unreachable, untouchable. They feel like they can talk to me, and it's a different kind of consumer or customer service, because my goal is to always drive with serving people. Like, I'm service driven. That's how all of this started. So when people reach out to me about things, I know it's because they trust me, and I want to continue that circle and help them and provide that service. And then in turn, they go and tell other people, like, you can trust Tamara, like she told me about this, oh my gosh. And just hearing that feedback, that constant feedback, is what makes me feel like it's not just my mom liking my photos or my girlfriends. The reach is way more than me. It's bigger than me. It's this whole community, and I love to be a part of, have a small part of it.
Ashley, I know you live in a town of 8,000 people. What does it look like to see your influence there?
You know, it is really cool to go to school drop off or pick up and see moms wearing something that I've recommended. I love getting stopped. And, you know, when people say something like, thank you so much for recommending, you know, whatever it is that I recommended, the mascara or, you know, the hair products or the outfit, it made me feel like a mom that's put together. That makes me feel so good about just being able to share what I love. And in my audience, my community does trust what I say, because I do only share what I love and what I use and things that I've found along the way. I think it's just so awesome to be able to connect with those other women, those moms that you see out in public, or like Tamar said, getting that email saying, thank you so much for recommending this. It has really changed my life. And my motto from the beginning has been, if you're helping one person, if you're changing one person's life or their outlook on how they feel, or, you know, their image of themselves, like, it is so worth it, whether you're influencing one person or 1 million plus. That circle of influence goes so much bigger than what you even realize. And to have a positive influence on someone's life, a positive impact on their life, even through materialistic things, it's my favorite thing to see somebody say that, or to hear those rewarding words of, you know, thank you for showing this, because I feel better about myself because you had that ability to share with us. So,
You know, online, we're certainly all craving relationships. It's one of the things that you'll see next month in our Gen Z study is about, this is what they call the loneliest generation. They spend the most time on their phone and they're looking for relationships online. And so the behavior that Ashley's describing only becomes more and more pronounced with younger and younger demographics, the ability to build relationships online, and then of course see them in the physical world. Tamar, I'd love to hear from you what you think are the kind of the key characteristics a brand should look for when they're selecting a creator to work with, you know, having in mind that, of course, they want to work with somebody who has these really circles of influence that builds a halo around their brand and a referral business.
I always say that if you're watching someone's stories, that's a great indication if you can be friends with them, if they're likable. And if you can easily watch someone's stories without tapping through and find them annoying, or like they're talking too much, or like they just seem so unrelatable, I just think it's a perfect balance of what I share on my curated feed and what I share on Instagram stories. So if you're able to look at someone, a potential like creator client, and watch their stories and feel like I like them, it can be just simple as that. That means other people, her followers, like her. And likability is something that you can't really teach or buy. Eventually it's going to catch up to you. And so if people and their fault, another characteristic is that you're probably going to want to see with a creator is their ability to tell a story, great storytellers. I want to envision this dress, not just like in this photo, but in my personal life. And so if an influencer or creator can create a story with anything that they're saying with their stories, if you're feeling attracted to what they create on their feed, that is going to be a really strong indicator that they're going to have a really strong connection with their influencer community, their influencer shopper community. I feel that authenticity will always come through, and people just have a gut feeling. And sometimes, unfortunately, numbers might not reflect the potential there initially. And I say this for like new brand and creator relationships. But if you see that there's potential that this person has that likability, they are able to just tell a good story, and they're determined to drive with service as their lead. They're not there just for themselves. They want to help other people. I think those are characteristics that you're going to want to have in a creator, because it's going to create not just that campaign, but a long-lasting, loyal consumer, regardless of what the category is.
Something else that we've seen when you talk about storytelling is just the rise of video. I think we're all pretty aware that every single platform is moving into video, and there's good reason for that. We see that within the LTK app, videos are shared 63% more than any other media type. So when you think around the halos around your business, think about building video in. It's a much easier way for creators to storytell. And specifically within the LTK app, they're talking to someone who's going shopping. And so helping them to, show how the fabric moves and tell about the sizing and where the context for wearing it, and that how it's great in one way, but maybe it lacks in this other way. That authenticity has really actually brought out a lot of sharing within our own platform. Ashley, for you, you work with brands very intimately, in some cases even embedded within their teams. And so what do you think that people should be looking at when they're selecting a creator to work with?
Absolutely. I think the number one thing is authenticity. Does that creator, first of all, like and use your product? Is it a good fit? Are they going to be able to talk from personal experience? And ultimately, is their community going to trust what they say about the product? Personally, I love sharing things that I'm already using, but I also love to try out new products and try out new brands and work with new brand partners. But I personally also like to use that product for quite some time to see if it's a good fit before I even bring it to my community. And I think in turn, my community knows that, and they know that anything that I do share with them, they can trust that it is my 100% authentic and personal review, or how I personally love the item. I think for the brand side, you're ultimately, looking for brand conversion. You're looking for conversions. You're looking to sell your product. You invested in this creator to sell your product, and creators are a walking billboard. We are able to reach so many more people than just a single billboard, and being able to tell from personal experience and authentically tell how we use that product or wear that brand is so much more meaningful than just seeing it, in a photo. So I do agree with Amber and Tamar, the storytelling and the video and being able to see how things move and the way you can wear things is so much more valuable than, just being able to see it in a magazine or a billboard. So I think the era of creators is such an organic thing that brands should absolutely be tapping into, because people are investing their time with us. They're investing their money in the products that we are wanting to share with them. And I think it's a win-win for everyone, in my opinion.
Okay, last question for you guys, and that is, what will you be doing this holiday season to best engage your shopping audience? Tamara, I'll let you go first, and Ashley will round it out with you.
So I am currently planning out all of my holiday gift guides. Guides can sometimes be overwhelming for people, but if you create very niche categories and guides, it tends to help them focus their attention. And I think also having products that I've been using throughout the entire year, creating my top 10, Tamara's top 10 products that must have for 2021. I feel like that's a great overall way of incorporating so many different demographics, categories. I can hit on so many different things, and they're going to be my most loved top 10. So it generates this idea like, okay, this is like the top that Tamara would recommend. She tries so many different things. Whatever is going to be on this list has to be the best of the best. So creating that exclusivity by creating guides that are kind of rounding out the best of the year. I'm also talking about balance as well, being realistic about my audience, not knowing that the time that we're living in, what people are going through, and also incorporating that with everything that I share. I think that helps. It helps me feel better about what I do every day, because like I don't want to force feed anybody like you have to get these items. But if I show them how they have helped me in my life or have benefited the people that I'm gifting these items to, that creates something where I'm going to bookmark that. I'm going to save this, because it's not just this one time. Also, I'm thinking about the longevity of this relationship and them trusting me. So creating gift guides that are super niche, super exclusive, but also balancing out with like, you can always bookmark this, you can save this, because I want you to always come back to me as a resource.
Thanks, Nora. Ashley, how about you?
I am starting gift guides tomorrow, and it's the earliest I have ever started gift guides, but it's probably my most favorite time of the year. I just personally try to be such a reliable resource for the people that do need help shopping. I try to, give great gifts. And so I try to really put those gifts into niche categories. Like Tamara was saying, I probably have too many gift guides, but like Tamara was saying, they're evergreen. So you can come back to those gift guides anytime throughout the year, not even just for holiday, but they're there whenever you remember, oh, I didn't get anything for my mother-in-law. I think Ashley had a gift guide for that. I'm going to go check. So it's just I want to be a great resource for my community, and they are being able to see the things that I've used over the period of the last year being combined into, the top 10 or all the cozy favorites that I have. All of these are in one place. So all of the things that I've shared throughout the year, they're like, I think that was somewhere. Well, if they're all combined in one place, I think it makes it easy for people to shop. It takes away the stress, which we could all use a little de-stress during this time of year. And ultimately, I just want to be a resource for my readers. So I love gift guides. That's one of my favorite things to do.
This week we launched gift guides at the top of LTK Creators shops. And so all of their guides will be in one single place, so that when people are ready to go shopping and they remember that Tamara had talked about something useful that she's doing, or Ashley about a piece that she loves and is a bestseller, it'll be there at the top when they're ready to go shopping. They can easily get to it and find it. One of the, I think one of the biggest things that I hope that you learned today was about how authorities and niche communities can not only drive your business, but also create a halo around your business, and how you benefit from the people who love these ladies that are here. So Tamar and Ashley, thank you guys so much for making the time to be with us and being so candid and sharing. I love the thoughtfulness around how you're thinking about the holiday season and how you're thinking of speaking to your own communities right now when things aren't as they usually are. I'll pass it back to Rodney for kind of closing thoughts.
Yeah, thank you all so much, Tamar and Ashley, really appreciate it. And Amber, I did have a question for you, if that's okay. You've worn many hats. So obviously, you know, founder of LTK, you were a creator, you are a creator, you know, PR, marketing, all kinds of things that you've done, and all kinds of major accolades, you know, like Glamour Magazine's Woman of the Year. Don't want to embarrass you, but, you know, business leader of Fashion 500, just all kinds of huge things. And so I have a question for you. Where do you think all this is going? Where is it headed next? Would just like that thought from you. And sorry to put you on the spot because we didn't practice this, but I just thought it'd be great to get that. And then we'll close out.
You know, I think one of the most important things as a founder and as a business owner is to be a futurist. And so we're constantly looking to see where people are trending. What's happening in technology, what's happening with where people are spending their time, the things that they're looking at. And so, you know, these studies are not just useful for you and our brands, but they help us to guide our own businesses. And so when we look at what's going to happen, we think that it's, you know, very much people understand creators, they understand the need, and they crave the need for authentic and trusted relationships that you know, Tamar and Ashley, for example, are giving them and really feeding a core human need. And we see that that's only going to continue even with the younger demographics. We believe, you know, that there will be a new platform about every 2 years. That's what the last 10 years has shown us. And so as our creators are you know, have the ability to make new sorts of formats or challenge in different sorts of ways to entertain and audiences and build trust on these platforms and given new opportunities because of them, we think it's more important than ever that their audiences know where to go when they finally decide they want to buy that hair dryer that Ashley talked about, or when they're ready for that white dress that Tamar showed. And so, you know, there's a beautiful dress that Tamar showed from Beholden that is a white gown. And, you know, for someone who's looking to get married, like for sure they're saving that, they're thinking of that, but, you know, they might not be doing it in that exact moment. And so when they are ready, it's important they can go back to her shop and they can type in white dress and they can find it really easy and get back to it and aren't, you know, clicking through highlight reels, going through YouTube videos, searching on blogs. Like there's a home base for Tamar. And so everybody who wants to shop from her has a place to go. And we think that it's much like the way of, you know, Craigslist was a fantastic resource to lots of people. And then it began to sort of verticalize. And now we have great platforms like Airbnb where you can go book travel. And it's a better opportunity, you know, for people who have that extra inventory of a room or a vacation home than Craigslist was ever able to provide. And we see that same thing happening here where, you know, you're able to find and discover creators across social media, and there will continue to be more. But if you're looking to go shopping from them, you know, Tamar and Ashley have a flagship store and they're doing their best work there and they're building it every day and providing more and more value. And whether it's a gift guide or a wedding dress, there's going to be a singular place to go to shop from them that is, you know, best fit for their needs. And we're really excited to be able to partner with ladies like this who just, as you can see, are very thoughtful, do an amazing job in not only attracting people, but keeping them and really building digital friendships. And we believe that this is the future.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Amber. Thank you, Tamar. Thank you, Ashley. And thank you everyone who attended. You won't want to miss our next webinar. As we mentioned, the LTK Gen Z Shopper Study is Tuesday, November 9th. You will get an invite to it when we send out the influential shopper study and the video from today. Unfortunately, we're a little bit out of time, but we'll look at the questions and make sure that we get all those answered. If you have any questions related to this presentation, you can go to LTK Brands, click Contact Us, or you can email me rodney.mason@rewardstyle.com and we'll be happy to follow up. This concludes today's presentation. We hope to see you at our next webinar. And thank you again, everybody, for just an outstanding presentation.